The second myth I want to address, we'll call it what it is. The second lie I want to address is that this is an easy business to just come in and clean up in. It's not that it's not doable. I just think a lot of people underestimate either the amount of time, the amount of work, or the amount of cash that's going to, honestly, all three.
Yeah.
I did a webinar with Deal Machine, like a support call for their members. And one of the gals that asked me a question, she was like, I just don't know what's going on. Nothing's working for me. And I was like, well, how many letters have you sent? And it was 56. And I was like, okay, you've got to get the economy of scale up here.
Yeah.
So a lot of people kind of have this, I think, false sense of how much work it's going to take. And they can watch a couple of videos on YouTube, go out and try it, and they're going to get paid the next week.
Yeah.
It's not that that doesn't happen, but in my experience with doing deals consistently, there's two ways. The first one being you're going to spend a lot of time putting in a lot of sweat equity. I mean, literally trading your time for dollars. And that's like driving for dollars, like manually, going out using an app like Deal Machine or something. Personally strapping yourself into a dialer and cold calling.
Manually writing letters.
Printing them yourself at home to try to say I'm going to save 30 cents.
Licking the envelopes. Yeah, I've been there, man.
Dude, we've licked more envelopes and stamped more envelopes than I can count.
Yep.
So it's not that you can't do this yourself or kind of some of these cheaper methods like cold calling or driving for dollars. You just have to have the proper expectation of it's going to be a lot of time. It's going to be a lot of effort. And even if you're doing it that way, you still have to remember the first lie of most people aren't going to call you with just please take it from me.
Yeah.
The second option you've got is you're going to spend some money. Now, that's my preference.
Yeah.
Because now I take that back. Early on, I was dead broke. So
I started.
I didn't really have that option.
Yeah.
I mean, I did $3,000 on a credit card. I couldn't pay
off. I was credit card debt king,
Thank
man.
God
I was like, let me do this.
That's right. American Express.
Whatever you got to do,
first
man.
name
Yeah,
basis.
dude.
So you can either trade a lot of time and effort, or you can spend some money. So my typical cost per acquisition is $3,000. My number one deal source is direct mail. We typically send about 2,000, 2,500 pieces of ballpoint marketing in order to get a single deal. Now, the other costs people don't realize that are there is Facebook ads, the Google ads, my SEO. I spent $1,000+ a month on for a couple of years before it started to generate results. But off of all of those marketing efforts, that's what allowed us to scale so dramatically. What's your typical cost per deal?
In between 35 and 4. Okay. Off of direct mail, because it's going to fluctuate, because sometimes we'll have months.
Sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah, exactly. But you're anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000. But the key there, and that's such an important number to know, because if you know what it's going to cost you in marketing, or if you're going to look at it from the time perspective, how many houses you need to find or how many letters you got to write, whatever you're doing, you can reverse engineer your goals. And then once you can consistently do deals and you're getting $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 paychecks, you can start to deploy that into direct mail.
Make your money work for you instead of working for your money.
Exactly. Right? But yeah, it's $3,000 to $4,000 depending on how we're doing. I would say more towards 4,000, but our average profit is $45, $50. So I'll spend 5 or I'll spend 4 to make 50 all day long.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good spread.
Yeah. No, our average cost per deal is right at 2,000 when we actually break it down cost per deal.
Good. Yeah.
But our typical profit's 17.5.
Yeah.
So I'll spend 2 or 3 to spit out 17 every day of the week.
Oh, for sure.
But there's a lot of systems, there's a lot of work that still goes on behind that. I think the thing people need to keep in mind with guys like you and I is we have teams.
Yeah.
We have people that are involved in our businesses that I'm not out running appointments. I live 2,000 miles away from my market. But if you're a new investor watching this, the important takeaway for this kind of lie is that it's going to cost you $3,000 to $4,000 on average. Now, I'm sure like me, you've had times where you spend $3,000 and it takes 7 months to get a deal off of that old mail.
100%.
So it's not always going to be the next month. But the reason why I think that's important to highlight, if you're going to handwrite your own letters, be prepared to write 2,000 of them.
Yeah.
If you're going to go out and drive for dollars or cold call or skip trace or hop on Mojo or whatever, I think it's really important to keep that $4,000 number in mind. Even if you just look at if you're investing your own time. My last year as a W-2 employee, I made $21,000 pre-tax. Meaning if you're going to try to hustle your way to your first deal, be prepared to give it 2 months of your life. Like that's realistically, this
If
is
not more.
if not more.
Yeah.
But this isn't something you want to just like get into lightly. A friend of mine, Chris Robinson, asks the question of, do you have a quit date? Do you have I'm going to try this till it gets difficult? Jen Sincero uses the expression of most people don't commit to anything. They just decide to try it until it gets too uncomfortable. So he was at a conference and it was like a competition thing. And the other guy said, I'm going to beat you at this, Chris. And Chris said, no, you won't. The guy said, why not? He said, because I don't have a quit date. I'm going to be here for the rest of my life. And that guy now runs one of the largest leadership empires in the world. So it's like, do you have a quit date when you're starting this or not? If I'm going to try this,
it's never going to work. Yeah, you're done. Especially in a competitive market, especially in San Diego.
Download Acorns and don't waste your money.
Yeah, invest your money
away.
as a passive investor for like on private money or something. But especially in a tougher market, like some of these, like San Diego, I've done some deals around here. Like if you're going to be in a more competitive market, you can make more money per deal, but you're going to have to expect it to be even harder because there's less inventory in the market and it's harder to acquire properties. But you got to look at it like the harder it is, the better it's going to be on the other side. I remember when I got started, I remember like justifying, like I was going out putting out bandit signs, licking envelopes. I'm like, is this going to be worth it? And obviously now it's clearly worth it, but like I knew going in it was going to be tough. So when it got tough, my expectations were in line with the reality. And it wasn't like I was going in thinking I was going to get rich quick because I didn't.
Yeah.
It took years.
No, it was a couple of years of beating my head against the wall.
Oh, dude, it's tough, man. But if you know it's tough, when it gets tough, you're not going to be disappointed, and that's part of the game. So you can actually go out there and like persist when you need to persist, because over time, most people are going to quit. And that's why sometimes you even want it to be sort of hard sometimes, because that means less people are going to eventually want to do it. So there's less competition once you persist to the other side.